Well, shit, Emporium looks like shit's going down in Chicago, apparently.
One thing is clear, none of what Trump is doing is making Illinois safer. ICE is running around the loop, harassing people for not being white. Just a year ago, that was illegal in the United States. Now, ICE is making it commonplace. That's not making America great.
Hi again, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. Mere hours after Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said that, a terrifying scene unfolded in Chicago. Around 300 federal agents descended on an apartment building in the South Shore neighborhood. They forced their way inside and began raiding people's homes. From reporting in the Chicago Sun-Times, quote, armed federal agents in military fatigues busted down their doors overnight, pulling men, women, and children from their apartments, some of them naked, residents and witnesses said. Agents approached or entered nearly every apartment in the 5-story building, and U.S. citizens were among those detained for hours, end quote. Take a listen to this chilling local news report on what happened.
I spoke to one woman who actually lives in this building, and she said she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me would I have any worse, and I said no. I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Cincinnati video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids were crying. People were screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? That's, one of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Said, fuck them kids.
Federal officials say 37 people were arrested in the raid, which they said they performed because the neighborhood was a, quote, location known to be frequented by Tren de Aragua members and their associates. But as the Chicago Sun-Times reports, DHS gave no evidence to support that assertion, and authorities did not confirm that any of the people arrested were members of a Venezuelan gang. An unbelievable show of force that looks to the naked, untrained eye very un-American.
That's very Nazi, doesn't it?
Daryl Ballard, who witnessed the raid, said this, quote, we're under siege, we're being invaded by our own military, end quote. And a woman named Marley Sanders, whose boyfriend was detained, noted, quote, they had the black people in one van and the immigrants in another van, end quote.
What the fuck?
Frightening escalation overnight. Raid is an escalation in what has been a weeks-long presence by ICE officials in the country's third-largest city, where hundreds have been arrested. At the same time, protesters have been voicing their outrage. Clashes outside the ICE facility in Broadview, a suburb of Chicago, have turned ugly at times, with demonstrators getting tear-gassed. Today, protesters were there again, and so was DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. She was spotted on the roof of the facility along with the Border Patrol commander, agents, as well as cameras, to which Governor Pritzker responded, quote, it's been nearly 45 days since Secretary Noem has held an official press conference, so it's time she faces the public and takes questions from the press to be held accountable for the Trump administration's gross misconduct. Illinois is not a photo opportunity or war zone. It's a sovereign state where our people deserve rights, respect, and answers. That is where we begin the hour with some of our favorite experts and friends. Director of Communications and Public Policy for the ACLU of Illinois, Ed Yonka is here, and with me at the table, opinion writer for the New York Times, MSNBC political analyst Mara Gay is here.
It's a fucking straight up horseshit.
Professor at Columbia University, MSNBC political analyst Basil Smikle's here. Ed, just tell us what you understand to have happened here in Chicago at this building, and if you have any information about how the kids are doing, who were, according to reports, zip tied and met with some indifference from at least one federal agent.
Yes, I don't have any information about how the kids are doing. What I can tell you, Nicole, is that what we saw was a full-fledged military operation conducted on the south side of Chicago against an apartment building in which the building was literally invaded. People's doors were broken down. There has never been a warrant produced for any of this activity. People were dragged out in the middle of the night, as you indicated, zip-tied, put into rental vans and driven off, only to be released later. There's no evidence that anybody here was in any way, shape, or form dangerous, nor that anybody here posed any risk to public safety in Chicago or elsewhere. But you'll notice, as you've indicated, that there were lots of cameras around, that ICE was there, ready to take video and to make this a social media spectacular.
Let me actually read a little bit more of the reporting just to get more facts out for my viewers. The Chicago Sun-Times also reports this, quote, Roderick Johnson, 67 years old, is one of many residents who were detained by federal agents during the South Shore raid. A U.S. citizen, he said, agents broke through his door and dragged him out in zip ties. Johnson said he was left tied up outside the building for nearly 3 hours before agents finally let him go. Quote, I asked agents why they were holding me if I was an American citizen, and they said I had to wait until they looked me up, Johnson said, quote, I asked if they had a warrant and I asked for a lawyer. They never brought one. What is your understanding of the legal framework upon which the raid took place?
Thus far, we've been given no evidence, and there's been no evidence presented to the public in any way about a legal framework for this particular raid, for bringing in this kind of force. Again, helicopters and drones and armed agents knocking down people's doors without any evidence that there was a warrant or that anybody was sought that would have caused them to, again, not, take everyone in the building away as it was. But I have to add, Nicole, that one of the things is that this particular event is just part of an escalation of force and violence that we're seeing from the federal government in Chicago that is clearly designed to create an intimidation and oppression across the city and to make people scared of their own federal government. Everything from what's happening at Broadview, as you mentioned, to, armed officers marching up and down Michigan Avenue, taking people away from Millennium Park, a family that was just visiting, the Bean at Millennium Park was taken into custody on Sunday. This is just a government that is clearly out of control and, sees force as the only way in which they can try to seize control of a city that doesn't agree with their immigration policies.
And DHS has said that there were federal agents from Border Patrol, the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Federal agents rappelled into the building complex from Black Hawk helicopters.
Yes.
Do you plan to proceed with any legal action against any of those multiple agencies on behalf of any of the folks who were subjected to this raid?
We certainly are both attempting to talk to those folks and want to talk to them about just that. We want to know what happened here and why it happened, and we want to know if there's legal recourse for the people who live in that building. This is not the kind of thing that we would ever tolerate if it was done by the local police. If CPD had done it, the Chicago Police Department, we would be looking at it. If the Illinois State Police had done this, we'd be all over it. There's no reason to leave this alone simply because it's federal forces.
This is the fucking bullshit that the Christian nationalists want to do. That kind of shit right there. They're Nazis. Don't be fooled by the false prophets.
This is Star Talk.
I'm pretty sure
Special
fucking
edition. And as always, that means we got Gary O'Reilly. Gary,
Hey, Neil.
how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Former soccer pro.
Pretty sure y'all are
Look at
gonna
you,
be
you
in
stay
trouble.
shape. You look good.
Oh, you're such a liar.
No,